Ask 100 people to imagine a weirdo, and over 95% of them will picture a man. But the science of creepiness isn't about gender. It is deeply rooted in human biology and our desperate need to know what happens next. The human brain operates as a relentless prediction engine. To walk through the world without constant anxiety, your mind continuously gathers data about the people around you. It uses that data to build a reliable model of their behavior. Trouble arises when someone provides scrambled or contradictory data. If a person acts in a way that breaks established patterns, our mental software hits a hard system error. That missing data triggers the amygdala, kicking us into a state of fear. Creepiness is a strict neurological reaction. It is a biological alarm bell ringing because we are interacting with someone whose next move is impossible to guess. Mark Zuckerberg provides a perfect modern test case for this alarm system. Look at his viral interview with comedian Theo Von. The discomfort you feel watching it stems entirely from his nonverbal cues misfiring against the context of the conversation. He exhibits severe data glitches. He physically nods no while verbally saying yes. During completely relaxed, low-stakes moments, he lets out these tense, unprompted laughs. The observer's brain expects behavioral alignment, but it gets static. He also falls victim to the conversation paradox. When you talk to a friend, your brain easily spits out details to fill the silence. But under stress, your mind assumes the other person isn't interested. It locks down and withholds information, creating agonizing, awkward silences. Then there is the physical data. Pale skin, incredibly thin eyebrows, and low-contrast lips act like camouflage for the face. Our eyes actively struggle to locate the subtle muscle twitches required to read his emotions. Zuckerberg triggers our alert system because of behavioral mismatch. His conflicting physical cues and blank expressions deny our brain the consistent data it needs to feel safe. Biology can also sabotage our prediction engines. Michael Jackson's extreme surgeries removed the natural contours of his face, resulting in starkly pale skin and hollowed cheeks. These specific physical markers hijack an entirely different, much older survival circuit. Take a look at this 3D scatter plot charting facial dimensions. You'll notice a dense cluster directly in the center. Our brains evolved to view these average facial features as highly attractive, because historically, looking average meant your body was free from debilitating disease. Pathogens like viruses and bacteria visibly alter a host's appearance. They drain color from the skin and strip fat from the cheeks. When a face drifts out of that safe, average cluster, our brain instinctively correlates those outlier features with contagious sickness. This pathogen alarm is hardwired. Even if your conscious mind fully understands that Jackson's appearance was altered by doctors in an operating room, your primitive brain still screams at you to keep a physical distance. Extreme biological modification acts as a massive false positive. It forces the brain's ancient disease avoidance software to classify a person as a creepy health risk. This graph tracks our emotional response against how human something appears. As physical modifications increase, the line takes a steep drop into a zone called the uncanny valley, a psychological dead space where things look almost human, but trigger intense visceral disgust. Heavy surgeries stretch the face away from the normal human blueprint. The observer's brain stops recognizing the person as a fellow member of the species, categorizing them instead as an alien variable and firing up our survival instincts. For the general public, this same biological alarm is tripped by poor personal hygiene. Noticeable bad smells, visibly greasy hair, and severely unkempt skin act as modern warning signals that communicate poor health to the tribe. Basic self-care solves this. Maintaining good hygiene provides clear, visible proof to everyone around you that you are a healthy, safe participant in the species. Albert Einstein had famously messy hair, spent most of his time isolated, and eventually instituted a strict rule against wearing socks. Based on the data, he should have triggered every threat alarm we have. His social unpredictability started early. As a child, he suffered from echolalia, a condition that caused him to repeat phrases to himself endlessly. He completely failed to speak in full, coherent sentences until he was 4 years old. He spent his youth desperately trying to navigate regular society, but as a young adult, he completely abandoned standard etiquette, leaning into his chaotic aesthetic and wholly accepting his weird persona. Yet his unpredictability didn't isolate him. Somehow, he bypassed the biological and behavioral alarms to build a global brand as a beloved, eccentric genius. A 2011 psychological study explains how he did it. Researchers found that performing a strange action only makes you seem creepy if you pretend the action is completely normal and ignore the awkwardness. Look at this flowchart mapping social deviation. When you do something strange, clearly acknowledging it or showing brief embarrassment leads directly to a pro-social, trustworthy outcome. Admitting to a social blunder changes the signal being sent to others. It provides the missing context for your behavior, proving that your understanding of the group's norms is actually intact and your actions remain predictable. Einstein mastered this. In a scientific community obsessed with class and strict rules, he actively joked about his own eccentricities. His self-deprecating wit constantly reassured people that his mind was firmly tethered to reality. Accepting your own oddities provides the very data the brain is looking for. It confirms you are aware of the group's rules, neutralizing the biological alarm and allowing a creepy outlier to be seen as a cool individual.